we are ready to talk about older people and technology because, as you know, it's all very well saying, use your computer, FaceTime the grandkids, you don't need to feel lonely. But what if you've never had any lessons around using technology? We're going to be talking about that next. How can you help an older person in your life learn some of these skills and put them to work for the power of good during COVID times?
Annie Gaffney on ABC Sunshine Coast.
90.3 and 95.3. Now could be the time to start teaching an older person in your life how to use some online technology. But you will have to exercise a little bit of patience as social distancing does present some challenges. We know lots of older residents in our community have gone into home isolation and, working out ways to teach them how to use apps and social media. Many of us just take that for granted, but we're going to get a few tips right now from Ritesh Chugh, who's a senior lecturer in IT at Central Queensland University. Ritesh, good to have you with us on the program this morning. Tell me about some of the disadvantages that older computer illiterate people face, especially when it comes to things like even having to deal with public services at the moment.
Good morning, Annie. So the problems that they face is lack of information, also inability to complete physical tasks on time, such as paying utility bills.
Yes.
And tasks that usually that can be accomplished online now will take much longer if they have to be accomplished physically and can be tiring for older people as well.
Yeah. Some of our, just getting on a phone line at the moment to some of the central services, government services is really hard, isn't it?
Yes, public services are inundated with phone calls anyway. So where possible, the transition to online, the use of online services is important. However, in times of social distancing during COVID-19, training our seniors is also a problem in itself. You're not physically there with them to train. So that's an issue that needs to be considered. And I think most training really needs to take place over the phone as family members guide older people. I do understand that, if it's an aged care might have that services. But, if you're doing it over the phone with parents and grandparents, learning can be problematic. I think it's best to ask them to write the instructions that you're giving them over the phone, or repeat the instructions, and possibly type and send those instructions over SMS, because, experience tells us that, older people are familiar with SMS.
Okay, all right. So
now,
yes.
Sorry, now go ahead.
Yes.
So what parents really, when we're teaching someone, what really needs to be done is, especially older people, is start slowly. Don't overload them with too much information. And often when we are teaching older people, we tend to become frustrated. So patience is really important. It's important that we tell older people that technology is not burdensome, and it's actually going to make communication easier for them. So if we tell them the benefits of it, they will embrace technology more easily. So start with the basics. Perhaps start with social networking sites such as Facebook. Show them the use of the Google search engine so they can surf the internet. And research also indicates that the use of technology can reduce feelings of loneliness and boredom. This is an important point that needs to be drilled down in older people. Because, like I've said previously, in times of social distancing, social connectedness is becoming more important.
Yes. Have you ever tried to teach someone, Ritesh, an older person, over the phone how to use a form of, the internet or how to use a type of social media?
Yes, I have. Yes, indeed. Relatives, I have, yes. And what I firstly advise is to increase the font sizes of the device they're using. And when I say device, I think touch screens are better than our conventional PCs and laptops, personal computers and laptops. So touchscreen devices, where possible, seniors should use touchscreen devices. Increase the font sizes on their touchscreen devices. Increase the app sizes as well, so it's clearly visible to them. I try and avoid technical jargon, so use simple to understand language, and give them time to practice. I mean, repeating instructions. You will find that when you're teaching an older person how to use technology, you will end up repeating instructions. And that's why I said at the start, patience is very important. Don't become frustrated when you're teaching older people how to use technology. And I think what people should also do is convince older people that they're never too old to learn. And like with any other thing, the more they practice, the more they'll learn. There will be mistakes along the way. It's important to encourage them to ask for help. I've often noticed that older people are shy to ask for help.
Yes, and that's fair enough.
So,
yeah.
Yeah.
It can be overwhelming.
We have to,
And they might feel, that they're being silly if they don't understand something, or, it can be embarrassing even for any of us if we don't get instructions or we're learning something new for the first time. You have to really kind of put yourself on the line when you're learning, don't you?
Very true, Annie, very true. But, it's important. That's why it's important to encourage them to ask for help. Show them how to do it. And when I say show, there might be times when people are already using FaceTime on their Apple devices or using Facebook. So if you are already connecting to them through video technology, then you can also show it to them how to do it, but don't always do things for them. And there are a lot of internet scams also floating around. I would advise vigilance as well.
Yes, for sure. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
We can be, even the most savvy user of technology can fall prey to those online scams. Ritesh, good to get a few tips from you this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Annie.
Ritesh Chugh on ABC Sunshine Coast is a senior lecturer in IT at CQ University. Have you stood sort of outside the window of your, loved one's house at the moment because you don't actually want to physically go in and see them? We're being told not to have contact with our older members of the community because they are in that more vulnerable group from COVID-19. It may be one way to go and stand outside the window with your device and actually give them a little lesson through the window, if that's possible, or you can do it on the phone, but patience is key.